like 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. And we hope you're having a wonderful week. I'm your host, Abe Kamara, and tonight we are going to be discussing home or abroad, navigating vacation choices in the immigrant community. Are you one of those that take vacations? And when you are taking the vacation, where do you go? Do you go back to your home country, or do you explore the United States, or do you go somewhere nice, right? Do you go on a cruise? Whatever your choice is, right? We are talking about vacation today on the podcast, so you can join the conversation by following us on Facebook, subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on LinkedIn, uh, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, and all those things. So, join the conversation. I have my panelists with me, Peterson, and another great panelist, Titus, just joining us. So, Peterson, I'll start with you. Introduce yourself quick and.
Good evening. This is Peterson from the Windy City. Well, right outside of the Windy City, so Chicago. Welcome to the show. And this is a great topic. A lot of people that you come across, they're always talking about they want to be a world traveler. They love traveling. But many times there are a lot of factors that hold people back from doing their travel or living their dream. But when you do travel, are you planning to go back home to your country of origin or just explore the world? Welcome to the show.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks for that, Peterson. Titus, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
Good. How you been? How you doing?
I'm sorry, man. I didn't hear half of what Peterson said.
Oh, really?
Was it just me?
Do you have that low star internet again or what? What's going on with you?
No, was it just me or
internet?
No, I think it was just you. I think so.
It was you, man. It's like we hear him loud and clear. Now, audience,
maybe it's me then. It's me.
Yeah. So welcome to the show. Introduce yourself quick, and then we can get to it, man.
Thanks for having me. Titus here. I enjoy being on here and interacting with you all. Let's have another good conversation, man. Hopefully, we all learn from each other tonight. Hopefully, we have something that we'll bring to our community tonight, because that's what Inner Circle podcast is about. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, folks, you can also be part of this conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. Again, home or abroad. When you're taking vacation, where do you go? Do you go back home or you go somewhere else relaxing? So, Peterson, I'll start with you, man. First of all, what does vacation mean to you, right? And how has that meaning evolved? Since you kind of immigrated to the United States.
Yeah, so before coming to the States, I don't know what vacation was. Vacation was probably when you are out of school, because back then the school year used to go from January to like September. So whenever the school year is over, you go to the village or you go to the interior, and you consider that vacation. You-
Okay.
That
Okay.
used to be a vacation where you go and you go to like the grandparents' farm and other things like that. But since coming here now, this is a whole new environment, and everything here is different. So when you talk
Mhm.
about vacation, many times people think vacation that means you leaving your state or you leaving your country, and then that's vacation. But I think for me personally, vacation is wherever you find yourself and you in like a relaxing mode basically,
Mm,
and
mm,
you try to let go of all the stress about work and other things. So vacation can be at home. You can take time off from work and be like, you know what, for the next couple of days, I'm not going to be bothered with work. I'm just going to focus on me and my family. I think that's vacation is focusing on yourself and trying to re-energize yourself.
But let me push you a little bit at that point instead of vacation or staycation, right? If you take time off from work and you just stay at home, what's the point of that? Why can't you just work instead of vacation or staycation?
No, for me, I don't like, if I'm taking vacation, I have to go somewhere, because if I stay home, I'm going to work. Yeah,
Okay.
I cannot find myself just sitting at home without working. So, with
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Titus, what does vacation mean to you, man? And how has that evolved since you came to the United States and since you became an immigrant?
I totally agree with Peterson's definition of what vacation is. It's
Mm,
really taking the time of, vacating from everything else and just resting.
mm,
Um, Again, when we were back home, one of my favorite places, and again, this is why Banga, the city Banga, right, the capital of Bon County. That's
mm,
why I think that's why it's my favorite city in Liberia, because some of my fun memories, leaving Monrovia, going out of town. You see the people still using coin. You know what I mean? You can use coin to buy your roasted cassava, your roasted corn. That stuff
mhm,
was so fascinating for me. I was like, they're still using this stuff out here, and
yeah.
it was just cleaner, just better environment, cleaner environment, less congested as compared to Monrovia. So just forget about everything else and just resting, getting away, and recharging. Uh, those are the things that encompass a vacation.
Yeah, but if you follow that definition though, right, it means that I think that's one of the problems. A lot of immigrants don't take time off to like travel. Traveling is a huge, huge, huge problem in our community, right? Is a lot of folks like, I mean, Peter
Yeah,
saying further in Chicago, he does not leave Chicago until maybe until maybe something happens, he want to go back home but stuff. But that's a
yeah,
huge problem. I mean, that's a huge problem. How can we encourage, it's like, I mean, you guys say vacation, relax home, whatever. But how can we encourage more travel, right? Because that's what the Caucasian and other communities do, right? They do travel. But why is that we don't do that? Maybe in the African immigrant community, we don't do that a lot. Peterson.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point, because when you are around people from school and the work environment or the work setting, you always hear about, oh, if a year goes by and they don't take a vacation, like, oh, this is so overdue. I haven't taken a vacation. Whereas some of us, we like, wait, what? You mean just in 2 years you haven't taken one? What about 15 years and 10, 15 years to actually take a true vacation? But I think for a lot of immigrants, we we are juggling a lot of things. So a lot of people think, okay, when it's time to take a vacation, for me, if I'm thinking about taking a vacation, would I be like, I have everybody back home that I need to visit, or do I neglect that and then go to Cancun or go to Europe or something like that? And it's like a conflict of interest. A lot of people still have their country like
Hmm.
at heart, and
Hmm.
we still have families there. So uh, to say, okay, I'm going somewhere else versus going back home, a lot of people would say, okay, I'll go back home. I'm more comfortable there. rather than going to like a strange country or a strange place that I
Hmm.
don't know. And so I think that's what it leads to, because a lot of people, they do plan and they do want to travel, but they just don't have the means. Sometimes it's either financial or time constraints. They cannot take time off from work. Like I I said it here before, I usually lose a lot of vacation time
Mm.
because I don't take it. Like, because I feel if I take vacation, I want to go somewhere, but how people will be like, oh, I'm gonna take the next couple of days and just like re-energize myself. I don't know how to do that. So
Yeah.
it's something that we need to encourage each other to do because
Yeah.
it's vital.
Okay. Titus, when you're thinking about taking time off from work, what is the motivation? Is it just taking that time off, as you stated earlier, maybe just to relax, re-energize, or say, you know what, I'm taking the time off maybe to travel, explore, or go back home or something. What's your motivation from taking time off from work?
For me, basically, it's really about resting, taking that time off to recharge. Because listen, the work we do, regardless of what field of work you're in, you're gonna get tired, right? Mentally, physically, whatever way, you are going to get exhausted. And for the most part, with us immigrants, I know we're against the walls and we have to make these ends meet, but a lot of the reasons we're not taking these breaks is because, and like Peterson was just saying that last part when he spoke about financially, we're not budgeting. It doesn't really take much to travel when you budget.
Mm.
You understand? All of the money that we spend during the week, the weekends, on a lot of different things, miscellaneous things. If you were intentional about taking breaks and vacations, giving yourself and the body,
Yeah.
the mind, the break that it needs, you
Mm.
would be intentional about budgeting. I mean, I've seen other folks. This is what they do.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we really don't see ourselves taking these breaks religiously compared to other folks, that we're around. So if we're going to encourage each other to take a break through traveling, we really need to encourage one another to be intentional about budgeting.
Yeah.
And traveling is so therapeutic, man. So
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought a great point, right? I mean, being intentional, and I think, right, what you find in the community a lot, you'll see some folks, right, every weekend maybe they'll go out to party, they go out to go to the club, or maybe chill parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as I mean, as Peter said, sometimes it would take 10, 15 years, they never travel. The only time they might leave, maybe like that there's another occasion, maybe in Iowa or another state, and that's not, to me, that's not an intentional vacation, right? Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you have a funeral or you have a wedding you have to go to. That's not a vacation. It's an obligation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens in our community a lot. Folks are not taking the time off, right? As you said, right? I mean, traveling is really, really therapeutic. And a lot of folks in our community, they are not doing that. When we talk about taking time off, sometimes it's not intentional. It becomes an obligation. But how can we change our mindset, Peterson? How can we change our mindset? Because I think it's very, very important, right? I mean, Tadas is saying about the financial aspect, but man, you got folks, sometimes you and someone might be working somewhere, sometimes you even making more than them, right? You even in a better financial
They
position
can
than them.
budget and travel.
Yeah, but they are traveling. They are traveling. As to your
Yeah.
point, they are traveling every year or every time. But how can we change our mindset in our community?
Yeah, I think we have to come to the point where you say, okay, I need to leave my comfort zone and I need to like explore, go see other places. And sometimes it's like what Tados was saying, uh, we overthink it. We're like, oh, to go to California. I hear everything California is so expensive, and what am I gonna do if I get there and stuff? So it all comes down to planning. If you plan, uh, if it's not just something off the whim, like, oh, okay, next weekend I'm gonna buy a ticket and go somewhere. You have to plan. Okay, when I'm there, what am I gonna do? Somebody once told me like, when you're going on a vacation, uh, of course you want to get there safe. You want to travel safely, but you shouldn't budget to say, okay, I'm going to stay in the most luxurious hotel, because if you leave your home and travel somewhere for vacation, it's to go and explore. You're not going to stay in your hotel room. Yes, you
Yeah.
want to be comfortable, but at the same time, you don't want to spend all of the money that you have for the experience to be sitting in a hotel room. So it all comes down to, like Tyler said, budgeting and then planning. You have to plan ahead, like, okay, I want to go to this place. And now we live in the information age. So you just Google, any
Right.
small town, any city, anything that is not even like a remote area,
Mhm.
going to find some information about activities to do, what the experience is, where do you go to eat, and things like that. So it's all about planning and then trying to find that information.
Yeah. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing vacation, right? Whether when we are taking traveling vacation, whether you do it home or abroad, right? It's like we are navigating vacation choices in the immigrant community. What do you do for vacation when you take time off? Do you travel? And when you are traveling, do you travel back home? Or do you do staycation? You just stay and relax and and do whatever it is that, to relax your mind. So you can contribute to the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154, putting a comment in the chat. Titles though, let me bring the home angle a little bit, right? Like I think sometimes what you see in our immigrant community, a lot of folks sometimes, oh man, this America is so boring. America is so this, right? But I think the reason folks me sometimes I found folks saying that, as I said, they fall down maybe in Chicago from Peterson, will fall down in Minnesota here, and we just don't leave, right? We see the same old people every time. But America is so beautiful. America is so vast. If you just take the time to travel America, you will say, man, this place is so beautiful. There's a lot to see here. How can we encourage that, right, within the immigrant community that, look, man, just we know it's tough. It's not going to be easy. Other folks are doing it, and it doesn't have to be by, I mean, to Peterson's point, by any expensive means, but just do it.
Yes, I believe one of the primary thing we could focus on as far as encouraging the our fellow immigrants about taking a break, vacation, traveling, is to really bring awareness about the benefits that come out of just taking a break, traveling, expanding your worldview, your horizon, meeting different people, understanding different cultures, so that you're not just living in the box. How many people have you been around, and when you have conversations about different things in the world, they're just blank. They can't even engage in that conversation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There are so many benefits. If you're not talking about your local environment, your local country, um, and with somebody who's from that territory, then they can't really engage you. It's so much benefit that comes with it. Health benefits, mental benefits, relieving yourself of stress. The memories that we continue to create, we create these memories. These are the things that are going to stay with us for the rest of our lives. And even during those tough times when you feel like, oh yeah, you are so down and stuff, those memories can come back and kind of rejuvenate you. There are good times. So you look forward to the time where you can actually triumph whatever you're going through, because again, the days will come when you will have those great memories again. So
yeah,
I think really selling that idea is selling those benefits to our counterparts about traveling, being other places, trying different foods, just meeting random people. You don't even have to know people. I
yeah,
love going to places where I don't even know people, bro. Just
yeah,
meet, and human beings are so wonderful, bro. I'm
yeah,
telling
yeah,
you.
yeah.
You go,
I
you
mean,
meet
and you brought
people,
up, and
you start
yeah,
great conversations, and it's just like, wow, I didn't even know like we could have this type of conversation.
yeah, right. And you brought a good point, right? Even in this country, right? Let's just maybe like bring it to the African immigrant community, or even to the Liberian community. You travel within the United States, you see different community, right? Sometimes if you go to Philadelphia, it's so different. Like Minnesota, if you go to Texas, you go to Dallas or Houston, so different, right? Different vibe. You go to Atlanta,
Different vibe.
different vibe. The way they do things,
It's
right?
different.
It's
Yeah.
a similar Liberian community, but the vibe is different, right? It's like So when you travel to these different cities, say, man, I mean, you guys do things here differently, right? It may same way with folks. Other folks come to Minnesota and say, man, this place is wow, this place is different, you know what I mean? Things like that. So I think that's a huge benefit to that. But Peterson, let's take the angle of folks that just intentionally, some folks are very intentional about it. They take vacation, right? They take time off, but they go back home. At
Mhm.
that point, though, right? Is that really a vacation?
That's that's a tough one because when you go back home, depending on where you go and the family dynamics or however you find yourself, it can be relaxing, but then at the same time, it can be very stressful. So,
Mm,
and I think that's one of the reasons why some people like they would take time to go home, but they don't count that as vacation. They say, okay, I'm going because I have a project or I have
Mhm.
something that they're doing. Because a lot of people go back home, but it's not to just like sit around because we are so used to like working here, especially in the Western world, that some of us, if I find like within a week that I'm not doing anything, I'm like, give me something to do. Like I need something to do. So going back home, it can be vacation if whatever project or things you are working on, if it's completed or almost completed, you can count that as vacation because at that point it's going to be a little more not so stressful. You will be relaxed a little bit. But I think a lot of people just take time to go back home to see family and other things. And then when they say vacation, they go someplace else because when you go on vacation, you go like sightseeing, you try new food, like what Titus was saying, you try new
mhm, mhm.
things, you're looking, you're
Yeah.
exploring. But when you go back home, it's like, okay, this is my old stomping ground, everything's the same. Okay, you go sit over here to this Kobo shop and so on and so forth. So at that point, I don't consider it like vacation. Maybe for if you have other friends or
Mm.
that you are taking with you,
So,
they can consider that as vacation.
so what do you say to folks though who goes there like maybe every 6 months or every year? I mean, they say, "Hey, man, I'm taking time. I'm going back home." There are folks in our community that do that, right? Is a lot of folks. I mean, some folks
Of
do that.
course.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say to folks? I mean, okay, Tyler, I would like to say, take that, right? I mean, Peterson saying you should go there when you have a project. A lot of folks go back when they have a project. They just say, hey, man, I love Ghana. I love Liberia. I
Yeah.
love Nigeria. I love Kenya. I just want to go back there and chill. At that point, is it really a vacation though? There's so many other places you could be seeing, but to Peterson's point, you're going back to your old stomping ground.
Yes, yes. It can actually be a vacation as well. It depends. I think it really depends on how you're moving back home because again, like you said, and it's a two-edged sword, right? As Peterson indicated, you have a project per se back home that you want to undertake. You're using that time to maybe add to your project, to get somewhere, and then use the rest of the time to rest. Also, like you said, there are folks who just go back home to just rest. There are a lot of opportunities back home, like reconnecting with your family, friends, your roots, that nostalgic feeling that you get when you're back home in that environment. And honestly, you could rest. You're not even thinking about the fast paced world that you're coming from in here. It's more slow paced. The only question you're really getting at is what you eating today. Make a water to Tiba. I'm gonna run a shower. You're resting. You're really recharging. So I think depending on how you're moving back there, what situation, what you're going back for, you could really make it a vacation. And if again, you don't have to be Maria among other
No.
places.
Here's the thing though, right? I mean, like you the same person that brought about
Yeah,
the
like
whole business.
resting. I
Yeah, I
ain't
mean,
gotta be Maria all day.
Yeah, you're the same person that brought up a whole budgeting aspect of it, though,
Yeah.
right? It's like if you, I mean, you can budget to go to Cancun, you can budget to go to Mexico, you know what I mean? Or you can budget to go to Europe. Can you actually budget to go back to your home country, Peterson?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough. Okay, wait.
You can budget, but you were
I'm
under
not
budget.
gonna ignore.
Yeah.
I'm not
The
gonna
thing is that,
ignore
the
When
the
thing
you
is that,
get
fact.
there,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
the
not
thing is
you
gonna
that
enter
it's
the
a
ignore
budget,
budget,
you're gonna
yeah,
go over.
it's like so. Can you budget to go
You
back
gotta
home?
have a baseline.
Yeah.
You gotta have a baseline, or else, bro. Before you come back here, you're being negative.
So, I think that's the part. Some people they will budget. They will say, "Oh, okay, I have $10,000 for this trip, including plane fare and everything else." But then when they get there, within just a couple of weeks,
Man,
everything dreams down, and then they're like,
it's
"You know what?
tough.
I gotta change my ticket. I gotta go.
It's tough, man. It's
I gotta
tough,
change my
bro.
ticket."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, right? Africa budget,
Different
right?
story
Is
for
like,
real.
like I said, Africa budget, right? But with that, I mean, with that said, I mean, I understand all of the benefit, Tyler, you talk about, right? But a lot of folks really here is like they find, to your point, right? They find joy in going back home. But how often though should I say? I mean, should I citizenship? Should that just be no? That's me. You're not doing any project. Should that be like a once a while adventure where you know what? Maybe I'll go back home once every 5 years to go see family. But when it comes to traveling to explore the world, even within right within less than within Minnesota, a lot of folks have not left the Twin Cities, right? Even to go to Duluth. I mean, let's talk about
Yeah.
Illinois. A lot of folks, I mean, this country is so vast. The states we all live in is so vast, right? Instead of maybe going back home every year, should we take the opportunity, right, to explore even within the states that we live in?
No, I'm with you. Was that a Peterson or I could go?
No, no, no. You can go first.
Thank you,
I mean, you
thank
can
you.
go first.
I'm with you on that, man. Exploring. In fact, speaking of about exploring, I saw an ad today about Duluth. You know, it's funny that you're speaking about. I love going to Duluth. By the way, it's
Hmm.
only about 2 hours away. It's not that far, and it's again, it's like going out of town,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like going out of town. I love nature. I love to just reconnect with nature. You know, be away, put my phone away and stuff like that. I get go in the cabin, go hiking and stuff like that, right? But there is an event coming up actually in Duluth with Red Man and Method Man, you know, the real hip hop heads, Immortal Tech, and it's next month, May 3rd. So I started there, man. Boop, I got that already. I know I'm going on that. But yeah, man, definitely exploring, bro. The other time I even saw some beautiful parks out here, like waterfalls in Minnesota. There are so many great areas just to go and relax, get away, go hiking, take the kids, take the family, and just recharge over the weekend or whatever, whenever whatever days you have time to just recharge. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Instead of I mean, again, it's everybody, right, and what works for them,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Some
Hmm.
people just go in all through the year and set that one time to get away. That one time, December, get away and go chill in Liberia and come back, then go straight on the also again. When you could actually, I mean, there are lots of opportunities out here in the States, even in the very state that you are in locally, to just rest,
Hmm.
relax.
Hmm. Peterson, though, like I know, like I mean, Tyler's brought about our kids, right? Those that have kids, how can we? Because like I think sometimes that's where you see the most disconnect, or maybe like where in like the impact, right? You see other communities, right, traveling with their kids. It don't have to be a huge travel, right? I say it can be locally, it can be within the states, it can be but just that, but they take that time out when their kids are on spring break or summer break, they take that time off to do something with their kids, travel, right? Take that vacation, take that time off. We don't do that like in our immigrant community. What impact do you think that have on our kids?
Man, is very important for especially if you have kids to expose them to other places, other environments. And like you said, you don't have to pack up your whole family and travel to Asia or travel somewhere far. Like when my kids were on spring break a week and a half ago, we drove to Washington D.C. I'm like, Everybody in the car were gonna just drive. It was a 12-hour drive, and uh, it was my first time driving with the kids that long of a distance. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
after that experience, I'm like, wow, this is something that I want to do more often because we only made 2 stops in 12 hours. It's not something that we wasted like 5 hours on the road,
Yeah.
making stops and stuff like that. But it's very important when the kids are out of school and you don't have to go that far. You can go, like Tata said, uh, the thing about the U.S., there's always something you can find where in your environment, wherever you are locally. There are things you can find because, like in Chicago, there are people that come from all around the world to visit Chicago because of their
Yeah.
architecture and all these different
Mhm.
museums and things that we have here in Chicago. But we that live locally, like, I don't want to see the few museum anymore. I want to go see something else. So with that, you can travel, you can plan, and it's important. It's important for the kids to be exposed, and that memory that you create, the one that Titus mentioned earlier, you're creating memories that will last a lifetime instead of just sitting around.
I
And
mean,
I'm yeah,
to
you want to
what
say something, Tadas? Go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
to what Peter just said about the attractions in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Imagine the folks that come from all over the world to Minnesota just to see the biggest mall in the
yeah,
world, the Mall of America. And
yeah,
we here we're like, so I can relate to,
yeah.
to what you're saying. People come
But the
from
other thing to do, right? But the other thing to there are folks, right? So now when I travel, I say, man, what do you have here popping, right? Is that what's the best for you have popping? There are locals who don't know. It's like I
yeah,
don't go anywhere, really. So you hear that you don't really get. I
we
mean, the
don't
place
get
you said
don't
anyway, you don't
get
get out of your comfort zone to see what's out there. Sometimes it kind of amazes me, right? So Peterson, to your point, right? Like, yeah, Chicago had all of these great things, but there are folks within the immigrant community that don't even take the opportunity to what to
Yeah,
what to see that because sometimes these things are even for the locals, but
yeah,
we don't do that enough.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's I think it's like that everywhere. Again, we need to just be more intentional about resting and exploring. Like
hmm
Minnesota, man. Minnesota is big. Is a lot of beautiful places out here. You can connect. For me, I'm
yeah,
a nature guy. There's a lot of areas with water. I love being around water. Hiking and again, even these nearby states now. You got Iowa over there, where you got Wisconsin there with the Dells. The
hmm
Wisconsin Dells, and it's a lot of opportunities here. But yeah, getting out of our comfort zone, taking the family out. That stuff is so important. The kids, they look forward to these things when
yeah.
they go back, right? Because remember, they're not just among folks from their community.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
especially
Their
for some
parents,
of us.
yeah, their peers are telling them their experience, where they went, what they did over the break. Hey, your
hmm
child, they be there looking the other child, mom.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's a
and
man.
I
I
think
was, yeah,
to add to that,
Yeah,
another way to encourage people in their immigrant community is to say, don't overthink it. You don't have to like say, "Oh, I gotta go to Miami, gotta go to Orlando, Universal Studios." Start where you are, and like
yeah,
Rebecca commented, here, she said TikTok has been putting on game.
yeah,
If you just go, even if you are not on TikTok, just go on Google and Google things to do in like my state. Put in your state or your city name, and it will show you if you are outdoorsy person, it will show you what you can do as far as activities outdoors. If you want to be just relaxing in a pool at a hotel, it's going to show you these things.
yeah,
So we just it's the first step. That's the hardest part, to actually take that step and say, okay, and like we said from the beginning, you have to be intentional about it. Say,
yeah,
okay, uh next month when the kids get out of school, I want to do this. But you don't wait until they get out of school. You start with
yes,
right now.
yeah,
yeah. But I mean, the thing about it, right? You brought. I mean, Rebecca brought TikTok and the whole, I mean, social media thing, and you brought a good point, right? But in our immigrant community, though, are we using social media the right way? When I say the right way, because these are things, right, that you can, these are things that, I mean, they are good. I mean, there are a lot of good things to social media, right? Don't get
Sure.
me wrong. There are a lot of good things, but in our community, are we actually using it the right way, right? It's like, are we using it for the right things, right? Maybe like to know vacation spot, to know because yeah, I mean these days you have so many how they call them influencers where you have traveling influencers that will travel to great places and post it. I mean, it's so beautiful. But in our immigrant community, though, is that when we are search or we are browsing social media, are we looking at any of these things, or we just looking at maybe the latest gossip, or what's going on, all the negativity, right? And that's why we have become intentional here at Inner Circle Podcast, right, to bring the kind of topic, right? I mean, like the way Peterson says, it's a great topic tonight we are discussing, but these are things I want to encourage folks in our community to really, really take advantage of because I think it's very, very important. But when it comes to social media, are we actually using it the right way for, I mean, to encourage these things? When someone traveled to Liberia, like Tyler, when someone traveled to like, that's when someone traveled to Liberia, right? As you said, right? There are a lot of beautiful places in Liberia. Let's assume, right? They want other people, they want others to travel to Liberia. Are they focusing on these good aspect, on this beautiful part of Liberia, or we saw the negative energy, all the the latest gossip or the party that's going on in Liberia that they are trying to, promote.
So
Tell us.
what I've noticed over the years is that the negative things they're mostly popular in our community,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point it clouds whatever positive thing that's going on. You don't even get to see a lot of it. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of immigrants, and not just Liberians, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Ethiopians, Kenyans, that are showcasing these beautiful areas in their surrounding, and even when they visit back home. Unfortunately for us, the negative things are just they're just mostly popular. Is like, especially our Liberian community, is like that's what we gravitate to the most.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
know, when negative things are on there, we're using social media to bash one another, bringing one another down. We can't wait to hear about the next man's downfall, who leaving who not supposed to be the other, but the other person, all that stuff. But I think there are still good out there. There are
Okay.
people still using social media to showcase really eventful areas, that you could go to.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing vacation, right? We're taking a vacation. Are you doing staycation? Are you, exploring America? Are you staying home? Are you traveling abroad? Are you going back home to your home country? What's your favorite vacation spot? So you can contribute to the conversation by, putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. Peterson, man, if you could design your dream vacation, where would that be? Where? Would Peterson like to travel? Like, what's your favorite vacation spot and your dream vacation? Where would it be?
Hmm. I have several places that
Okay.
I dream about uh,
Okay.
visiting. Uh, Southeast Asia. I'm not too much about uh, Europe, except like to see the castles. That's
Okay.
basically,
Okay. Okay.
go there for like 2 years ago. I was in Germany. It was work slash vacation because I went for work, but then I took out some time while there to explore. And I'm fascinated by just castles. I love like big castles and
Architecture, huh?
you know, and history and stuff like that. Yeah, so there are several places that I would like to um, go for vacation when possible, when I have the time and a plane like we're talking about here, and budget for it so that I can be able to go. And like I said, Southeast Asia and parts of Europe, and actually even going to like Southeast Africa, South and Southeast Africa to for vacation.
Okay. Do you Titus, anything to add there? Like, I mean, if you could design your dream vacation, where would that be? Right? It's like your dream vacation somewhere. Go, man, you say what? I have been meaning to do this. This is my dream vacation spot. Let me just go there and the world. I mean, all bets are off. What is it for you?
It'll be somewhere in Africa. Um, I've been longing to go to Egypt.
Mm,
I've been longing to go to Egypt to see the Nile River, to really, go there myself and have that experience. And then again, man, just knowing that that place, at least as we've studied, is the origin of mankind. I really, and it's in Africa. I feel like it will be so much recharge for me when I visit Egypt. I think that's my dream place right now in Africa. But ultimately, is somewhere that I would actually want to build. Right, what I envision, where people can go and just relax, get some natural healing, stuff like that.
yeah.
But Egypt, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I'm glad you brought up Africa though, right? When you talk about vacation, when you talk about traveling, Africa is one of the continent that's not mentioned much, right? I mean, it's like you hear people traveling to Europe, right?
Yeah.
It's traveling to the Caribbean. I mean, it's like the Caribbean. Sometimes I feel like even some part of Africa is so beautiful than the Caribbean, right? But man, it's a popular destination. Why isn't it that we African immigrants are not promoting, right? Instead of us going back home to our respective countries, why not? Maybe they take an African safari from those from West Africa, even from West Africa. Why not encourage an African safari? What can we do to promote traveling, right? Vacation on the continent, especially like within the African immigrant community. Peterson.
Yeah, so to encourage other people to basically sell ourselves, like you have to sell yourself. So
Mm,
if we come from Liberia, to make it interesting for somebody to say, "Oh, I actually want to go to that place." It's like what Rebecca said here. So many negative reviews, a lot of negativity and stuff. So when you think about it, a lot of people are like, "Okay, if I'm going on vacation to one of the islands, to the Caribbeans, I'm going. I'll be sipping coconut, wherever, riding, being in canoes, and just sitting under the sun and enjoying food. But we have the same things back home and even better. But we do not sell those things in a passive way. We don't put it out there. Like it was through social media when I even heard about like the Patawi waterfall in like,
Yeah.
man, this thing is so beautiful. Like, but things like that. To Tada's point earlier, the positive things that come out of our environment, we are not showcasing it, and the negative drowns out whatever positivity is out there. So it's up to us to actually encourage people. And once we are wherever we come from, when you come to this country, you don't just decide like, oh, okay, I'm never going back now. I'm out of that dump, so I'm never going back. So if other people see that you are eager to get back to your country, whether it's just to relax or to chill or to take one or two friends with you so that they can see where you're coming from, that's going to encourage other people to be like, oh, okay, well, if this person can go, maybe I can try to do the same.
I think we discussed it. One of our panelists, Andrea, discussed it. Right, there's something. I mean, like Ghana to encourage. The year. I think they do something every year where they encourage Ghanaians or other nationalities,
Mhm.
to return to Ghana. Do you think that the home country is where we all? I mean, wherever you're from, I said Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, wherever you're from. Do you think those home countries where they are tourism because they have a huge diasporian community.
That's
Should it be
right.
the huge country responsibility to say, hey man, let us try to promote tourism and let us serve our own people? Should the home country take that responsibility as an initial step? That is.
Yes, yes, absolutely. These are opportunities that we, especially Liberians, that we miss. And this it's called what, a time of return or something that the Ghanaians have. There's a
Mhm.
name that they have for it, right? Point of no return, where they get people every year. I think in December, going over there to see where the castles, where the slaves were, those historic buildings, and people have this real experience. They have these real experiences about where their ancestors came from. But guess what? Liberia should be the one actually driving that. Ghana kind of stole that from us because we originated with that, right? When they left, when blacks left this place for the search of freedom, Liberia was one of the first coasts that it went back to, right? So we, like, if you think about Marcus Garvey and them, Liberia was the place where they all went, Pan Africanism, started pushing the ideology. We should really be the driving force in Africa for stuff like this. Think about the economic benefits. How many African Americans now that are returning to other countries? They're even attaining their naturalization now in Ghana, Zimbabwe, and other African countries. They're doing this is a beautiful thing. It's impacting their economy. It's impacting lives. People are studying and getting to know more about themselves, which is the most powerful thing you could do is to know about yourself. And overall, it's just so beneficial. Yes, I think governments should really strategize to see how they can capture this moment and kind of sift out the different benefits that come with it.
Okay. Okay. Peterson, anything to add there about the whole, creating like a tourism, tourism boom in Africa, right? Because I think, as I said earlier, when you talk about traveling, Africa is not top of the list, right? But sometimes, right, we need, I mean, should they start with the African immigrant diaspora community, right? That are here, right? So, hey, and then from the home countries, those countries, it should be their responsibility to initiate that, to promote that heavily. And a lot of people here agree, including Rebecca, that Ghana is doing that, but should all African countries really, really push that to bring their folks back home?
Yes, they should. So the government, we all know, a lot of places in Africa, when it comes to budget or allocation of funds for different things, due to so many, I don't want to say corruption, but that's what it is.
Mhm.
They just take these funds. So when it comes to tourism for a place like Liberia, it's like non-existent. So it should be the government's responsibility to establish it, and then once it started, to actually market it and advertise it, encourage population and people outside of the country to come back. And once they come back, they have that experience. They can go back to their immigrant community and actually give positive reviews like, hey, if you ever thinking about a vacation spot, go to this place. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it's going to start. It starts
Okay.
that way, and then it's going to grow. But we need to first have the government involved as far as initiating it, and then to encourage people to come back. Because when every time people mention Africa and tourism, they always think like Southeast Africa, and now Ghana is on the list. But it's like for generations, it's been Southeast Africa, like safaris. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they think about. All those who make it to Egypt to see the pyramids, and then that's it. But Africa as a continent, we have a lot of things to promote.
Okay, okay. To Rebecca's point here a little bit, right? Is that and specifically to Liberia, how Liberia is not welcoming to foreigners or the black, but especially like even like let me take it further. So Liberians that have been here, so now when you travel back home, those that travel back home, like Titus, I'm looking at you here. Do you feel like you belong? Do you feel as a Liberian, or you feel isolated? You feel like you're a foreigner, even though it's your home country, but how do you feel? Do you feel part of Liberia at the point of when you are visiting, or do you feel like an outsider? How do you feel, or how
Well,
is
I'm
it
not
like?
I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that there is and it used to be worse. I think it's getting better now. Things are getting better, but there used to be a sense of resentment um, for Liberians who are outside of Liberia, diaspora Liberians from
Hmm.
the local Liberians. I don't know, and I think that rift just it came from our people back there, our forefathers, again, the Liberian versus the Congo Liberian or Congo American, whatever they call themselves, that beef, Liberians who, our forefathers who came from here, went back there, met the native, how they coexisted. It's
Hmm.
always been some kind of bad experience. There were salty experiences there, and I think that energy continues to live on. But as we go back continuously and interact and talk about these things, like we're doing now, I think it will continue to change the narrative. It used to be horrible. In fact, it was so egregious that considering dual citizenship was such a huge thing. Folks feel threatened by Liberians who are outside of Liberia, or they're gonna go back and take their jobs and all this stuff. So I mean, it gets really deep. But yes, it exists. But at the same time, we just it's home. You got to keep trying.
Okay. Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing vacation traveling. If you're someone that thinking about a vacation, where are you gonna? Are you thinking about staycation, staying home, just relaxing, or are you gonna go somewhere? Summer is coming. It's a huge travel season in America, in the United States. Are you gonna be taking any time off to travel? And we are travel. If you are gonna travel, where are you gonna travel? I'm not talking about travel where you're going for graduation. That's not travel. That's an obligation. Are you going for a wedding this summer? That's not travel. That's an obligation. Are you going for a funeral, right? We are truly talking about leisure travel, leisure, right? You say, you know what? As Tato said, being intentional about it. You know what? I'm taking this time off, a week off, 2 weeks off, a weekend off, maybe to go to Mexico, to go to the Dominican Republic, to go to Colombia, to go to Europe. Leisure travel. Peterson, leisure travel is something, as I'll come back to that again, right? It's not really, really popular in our community. Do you think it's because maybe like there's a guilt aspect or sometimes, in our immigrant community, sometimes, especially in our African immigrant community, there's that show off, right? It's like, hey, it's like sometimes we do this thing to show off. Do you think, it discourages the whole idea of a leisure travel, what is truly meant to accomplish?
Yes, I think it does on a big level because some people will feel guilty if they travel to some place and they're taking all these beautiful pictures and because the day we live in is social media uh, social media day. So you travel somewhere. Oh, I'm at this location. You take a snap and you post it. And a lot of people feel like, okay, if I'm having all this like good time or leisure time, but then I have like family and other people who are less privileged. They don't have this opportunity, and uh, but at the same time, I don't think is up to us to feel like that because if you have the opportunity to travel and you have the time, uh, as an immigrant, if you are in this country and you have the time from work, like vacation time or PTO or whatever it is, you should take that and not feel guilty. Like, oh, okay, I feel some type of way. But to what Titus was saying earlier, when you asked the question about if, well, when you go back home, if you feel isolated or if there's some type of resentment, and it leads to that because if you are posting all these like pictures and then people they're like, oh, one bag of rice is $20. We don't even have it today to, and then
But should that be a responsibility though, right? I
Right.
mean, should that be a responsibility, right? If someone, should that be a responsibility?
no, it's not your responsibility, but you cannot you cannot determine how that person is going to feel or react to whatever you post. So when people go
True.
to back to their countries and stuff, and another thing that a lot of us immigrants do when we go back to our original like setting, now we're like, hey, I'm better than you. I'm from the states, and instead of changing the status quo to say, okay, these people are working, let's say, $30 a month. That's what somebody's making, or $60. Now we take advantage of those people and like, oh, okay, you're making 30, I'll give you $45 for bung. So while I'm on vacation, so you can be washing my clothes or doing this and that. So it, with that, I think a lot of the resentment also comes from that because we take advantage of the people when we go back home.
Okay. Tadas, how can immigrant-led, travel experiences, right, reshape tourism, or even like, reshape the narrative around tourism, even within the local immigrant communities that within the United States, right? As I said, these things have so much economic power. How can we make sure that even that we always sometimes it's like some of we complain our community, oh yeah, it's like the system is leaving us behind. But these things, even when we just do these things, as you mentioned earlier, right, just being intentional about it. How do you think immigrant led travel, especially around leisure, can help us regain economic power?
I mean, we're bringing a lot of attention to our area where we're showcasing, where
Mm-hmm.
we're highlighting. We're bringing a lot of attention to that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just relying on the different media about giving the world experiences that they think they know. We can
Mm-hmm.
actually be the ones, the ambassadors for tourism, in our respective countries, and just highlight our different areas. There are so many different things to experience in different countries as immigrants. So you go back there, you show the food, show the ecotourism. Well, we might not have a lot of these 4 or 5 star hotels and resorts,
Mm-hmm.
but we can invest into a lot of ecotourism, right?
Okay.
We might not be the Dubai. Dubai was a desert a couple of years ago. Look at what they've done now. Everybody want to go to Dubai. You think
Okay.
that it's not possible in our various areas where we're from?
Okay.
Ecotourism, the food, the nature of things, how pleasant we are. By the way, before I forget,
Yeah.
Liberians are top on hospitality in the world. It's just a contradiction that, and like Rebecca was saying in the comment section, that they're not they're not hospitable to their own people. But
Yeah.
then again, it goes back to, I think it really goes back to that beef with Congo Liberian, American Liberian versus native.
Okay.
So we keep working on that with how we relate to our people, how we treat them. We're not better than them because we're in a different environment. Just keep working on that, and make create a better place.
Yeah. Well, folks, there's a 1 hour show and we have gone almost top of the hour, but we'll drag it for a few more minutes. A great conversation. These are conversations like that needs to be had in our community. And that's why we here in our Cycle Podcast trying to bring these conversations, right? Folks need to take vacation. We are taking vacation, right? Don't just do the staycation thing, right? You come and watch TV, flip the channel 24/7, Netflix 24/7. Take time off, man. Whether it's a weekend, go to Chicago, right? Go to Wisconsin, go somewhere, and see, right? Wisconsin Dells is right here. As Tyler said, to do this right here. So man, take some time off, travel, right? Traveling is as Tyler said, is very, very therapeutic. We have discussed mental health here many, many times, and I think these things, help with your mental health. But Peterson, last night we had Representative Perez Vega on here was talking about, bridging the different communities, right? The different immigrant community, right? Building bridges among the different immigrant community. How do you think travel can be used as a tool to build bridges, among, in between the various immigrant communities? Like, I mean, she's from, I'm in Puerto Rico, right? There's a huge Puerto Rican community in New York. How can we, try to, if even within America, how can the immigrant community, right, explore each other cultures, right, within this very United States?
Yes, so it goes back to what I said about leaving your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always. I mean, you have your immediate immigrant community, I
Yeah,
read
yeah,
that statement. And then
yeah,
you
Yeah.
have the immigrant community at large. So with that, we should be eager to learn about other cultures from other people, even if it's not going to like Puerto Rico. But when it comes to the traveling portion of it, uh, traveling and tourism is almost like music or something where it knows no, like, oh, okay, you are this, you cannot travel here. You are this, you cannot travel here. Travel
Right.
is for everybody. If you can afford it and if you plan it, you can travel anywhere. So uh, we should make that a point. Once you showcase your own like country or your own origin, then you should plan to explore other places. And like for us in America, if you want to go to any country on earth, there's somebody in the states that you can find to tell you more about that country or to tell you more about that place. It's not like Liberia, where I guess now we have a lot of other Africans in Liberia, but any because it's a melting pot. So anywhere you want to go, you can always find that information. If you can find it like online, if you want to find it from actual source or somebody from there. So like talking about the Puerto Rican community, you can find somebody from Puerto Rico, and they are going to suggest or recommend where in Puerto Rico to go, and that's our experience by itself. You take time and you go to Puerto Rico. Like when Rebecca made a comment about finding a Hispanic person that said they have businesses everywhere. I was in Puerto Rico, I think 2 or 3 years ago with my wife, and we went to a jewelry store on our way back home before going to the airport, and we're just browsing. And this Indian guy, he came in to the store. He owns this business. So he came in when we're about to leave. He's like, "Where you from?" And then like, "Oh, we're from Illinois, from Chicago." He's like, I said, "Where you from?" I'm like, "Boy, what?" It blew me. He's like, I said, "Where you really from?" I said, "We're from Liberia." He said, "Yeah, I know you from Liberia."
Recognize.
And he said his family had lived in Liberia since like 1950. I think he was born there, but then now he lives in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. And he told my wife, he's like, "Yeah, when you guys go back to Chicago, you think you can send me some casali?" And I'm like, "This guy."
Oh my god.
Yeah, so you never know like who you're going to encounter
Yeah.
out there and who you interact with. So it's always a good thing to get out of your comfort zone and try to explore. We encourage it because not only is it therapeutic, like the title said, but you're going to create memories that will last a lifetime.
Yeah. The other thing that does, I mean, real quick here, right? I mean, I mean, you have a lot of other communities where have travel agencies. Should we maybe like encourage the idea of travel agency within our community? I know that, I mean, that could be another form of business, right? To encourage, because I think like, traveling is very good, leisure travel is very good. Should we encourage our folks, right? It's a,
Yeah.
should take that as a business opportunity.
Yes, yes. I used to see a few travel agents in our community.
Mm-hmm.
At some time, it was kind of rising, and then it just slowed down. I don't know what happened. But then recently, one of my bros' wife,
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Cooper, she has, shout out to her. She makes traveling easy, really, really easy. But yes, I think we should have more of that in the community, because hey, that's a really important point, because that could be some of the hurdles why folks don't want to travel. When they think about all the headaches that come with it, the planning that comes with it, just work with an agent, work with somebody who's with that agency. They'll make everything so easy for you, and all you have to do is just pack your bags, and they're gonna guide you through. So yes, I think that's an area of opportunity that we can definitely cover in our community.
Okay. Well, folks, this has been a very, very great conversation, right? It's a travel. I think, we all work hard in these in these parts of the world, right? Work hard. Some folks are working two jobs. It's like, so I think taking that time off, whether I mean, staycation is good, right? To Rebecca's point, yeah, don't get me wrong, staycation is good. But how often should you do? I mean, staycation. I think traveling, as you said, Titus,
Yeah.
it's therapeutic. It's to me contribute to your mental health. I think it's something folks should do. It's been a great conversation tonight, though. But Titus, as we wrap up here, what message you want to leave with folks in terms of leisure travel? How can we encourage that more in our community? And traveling to you, what has been your most memorable place you have traveled, or the most memorable thing? The message you want to leave with folks tonight regarding traveling.
My most memorable has been at the Bayan Castle in Ghana. I was much younger, but yeah, that the castle and going into the dungeons where slaves actually used to be. I can see why now, it's so popular. And when even Americans, our African Americans, brothers and sisters from here, when they go there, it's almost an unrealistic experience. Steve Harvey went to one of those castles and he cried. He cried. He shed tears. I think that has stuck with me for a very long time. But I like what you guys did when at the last part of your comments here, and when you talk about the integration with the different communities. Uh, we might be immigrants and in our separate bubbles, but we do have shared interests. When you meet people and you talk, you realize that we are more the same than we're different as you have conversations. And we're in so to say exile, for lack of better words. We're all trying to navigate a new society. We're all, trying to navigate how to get employment out here, how to navigate the local governments. It's just, the food, get around the justice system, all that stuff. Is so much that I think we have in common that can bring us together. And when you travel, you meet folks from different areas, and the conversation you spark, it really reminds you that the humankind is more connected than it is divided. So, I mean, continue to be intentional about traveling, meet different people. You can have conversations about anything. You continue to expand yourself, know people, and then also you don't just have resentment for people like that, because the more you get to know people, the less you fear them.
Yeah.
Than just stories about what you hear about. Uh, for example, right before I close
Yeah,
quickly,
yeah, yeah,
back then we used to have, you used to be paranoid when you get on the flight and you saw a Muslim, especially the one who was wearing the hijab and all that stuff.
yeah,
You, you might not be a punk, right? But when you saw, because of the time, and what was happening and what the media was showing us, and I know it has kind of
yeah.
de-escalated now. But the more we meet these folks from different religion, the more discussions we have with them. I mean, the less we fear people. So I mean, it brings so much different benefits, and I think we should really take advantage of it. Get away, get outside your comfort zone, relax, recharge, come back and do it again.
Okay, and I hope you can take that trip to Duluth, Mayfair.
Definitely. I hope you'll be on
Go,
that trip with me.
go, go on some hip hop adventure. That would be great. A great city
Let's
of Duluth.
go.
Great city of Duluth. But Peterson, may as we wrap up here tonight, what's the message you want to leave with folks? Have been listening to us for the last 1 hour, and also, right, what has been your most memorable vacation travel?
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen, for a very engaging conversation. And Rebecca, in the comments, she was on
Yeah,
fire
sure. Rebecca.
tonight. Thank you. Kudos. And I would start with my most memorable. I'll probably say phew, Puerto Rico, and
Mm.
then Germany.
Whoa.
Two places so far. Uh, I had some great experiences there. And as far as what to tell folks, we just encourage people. It's not easy. It's not something that you can just like get up. There are people who they do it like off the whim. They'll just get up and travel. They have their bags packed. at all times, all their travel bags, and when they're ready to just so. uh, I have a friend that every few months she's like, "Oh, I'm in Liberia," and then I'm like, "How long you there for?" Like, "Oh, a couple months," and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, she's back here again." So there are people who always like traveling, but traveling by itself is very therapeutic, like we said earlier, and it's something that we encourage people to do. And you don't have to start big and say, "Oh, okay, I'm going to Paris on my first trip." No, start with something local and get that experience so that you can be more encouraged. Like, oh, okay, well, after having this experience, it's something that I want to explore other places and also interact with other people.
Yeah.
And like one of the comments that Rebecca was making earlier about sometimes people, when you travel, especially if you are from the US, you feel like you are targeted when it comes to like people trying to like rob you and things like that. Yes, those are things that are happening whether you are from the US or not, but it shouldn't be a deterrent as to keep you from traveling. And if the planning stage is something that is difficult, like Tyler said, you can always contact a travel agency or somebody that have been traveling a lot, and that person can give you some pointers as far as how to go ahead with the planning. And do not neglect to go back to where you come from, whether you have a project there or not. Yeah, home is always home. It's always going to be home. So you can take time and go there too, so that you can relax. So thank
Okay.
you all for a very encouraging discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Rebecca,
Well,
it's
guys,
time to go back. It's been 27 years.
guys, it's been a great conversation tonight. And as you said, right? I mean, the one thing I want to close out here with, right? Once you travel, right, it becomes addictive. You always want to do it. And to your point, Peterson, sometimes just don't start with the big stuff. Just start with the little stuff. Maybe you go if you live in Minnesota, go to Duluth. If you live in Wisconsin, go to the Wisconsin Dells.
Mhm.
Something, try something out, right? Just start local. But once you start doing it, man, you won't stop. And I can tell you, once you start flying to all these great destinations, right, to Germany, to wherever, right, to the safari, you just want to do it. You'll find a means to do it. Sometimes I think we worry about money so much and we don't really, like everything else. Like I think we are here to create memories, and we can just focus on creating those memories. Because man, when you're in that casket, all the money you have, all the thing you had, those it's like sometimes when I go to a funeral, when I see all these pictures, right? It's like going on the, going down, showing who the person was, and things like that. I think at the end of the day, that's the only thing you will leave behind, your memories. So folks, thank you so much for joining the conversation tonight. It's been a good conversation. My man Peterson from the great state of Chicago. It's been a good one. Titles, man, has always been a good conversation. And folks, this is your community show. This is the Inner Circle Podcast. Here we discuss these kind of a topics to encourage you, man. As Peterson said, get out of your comfort zone. Let us hear, let us explore America. Let us travel. Let us, live the life that we left behind. So thank you so much, folks. We'll see you back here
If
tomorrow.
I could just use 30 seconds before you wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
For everybody and those who will watch later, Inner Circle is coming up with an event April 19. It'll be April 19. And if you can read my background there, it's a community wellness mental health day. So bring out the family, bring out the family, bring out the kids, older folks. Peterson, I hope you have time to come down, man, from Shoptown. Come bring the family. Let's have some fun. Let's learn, get some awareness about mental health. It's a dedicated topic. We need to talk about it more in our community. So please come out April 19th. We'll see you there.
Yeah. And then tomorrow, right here at Cycle Podcast, we'll let to flip it up. Tomorrow, we're going to be discussing credit. Our business show tomorrow, going to be discussing
Yeah.
credit. Hey, so so
Man.
tune in. Maybe before you do that travel, you need some credit or whatever, right? So tune in tomorrow. It's gonna be a good one. So, folks, man, it's been a great show tonight. It's been a great conversation. So, see you all tomorrow and Thursday. Good night, folks.
Good night. Thank you.